Well, welcome to the webcast. My name is Ken Narita. I work here in the marketing department at Ooma. Hope you're doing well. And for the next 30 minutes, the topic for today's webcast is prepared for the work from anywhere economy. And you're like, Ken, aren't we already in the work from anywhere economy? And what I would say is yes and no. And so, as we've all experienced during the past year and a half, it's been a challenging one, but for the most part, if you were working from anywhere, you were working from home. And as offices start to open back up again, we are now in this situation of how do you enable a uh, an employee to actually not only come into the office for a couple of days a week, but also then work from most likely their home office, or depending on the function that you are in, perhaps still the coffee shop, still on the road, wherever you may be. And so it's different in the situation that we're in now, where a lot of us, we are very well situated at home. We have our screen where we want it, we have our phone where we want it, we have our coffee where we want it. And now you're going to have to duplicate that, so to speak, and also have that same situation at your office. And you're not going to be physically moving stuff when you're 2 days in the office or whatever it is, 3 days in the office, and 2 days at home or wherever you might be. And so, are you prepared for that? That's the question at hand, right? And so today's topic is mainly focused in on to address it, Ooma Office Pro, because we believe the features that we've built into Ooma Office Pro best equip you for that. So I'm going to take you through just a handful of slides that should not take more than, I don't know, 8 minutes or so. And then we'll jump into the demo portion of it all throughout the presentation. I'm going to be trying to talk about use cases because the use cases I think are the most important part of, okay, got it. I can see what you mean, Ken, in terms of, okay, this might be a better service offering to prepare my business in the situation where people are going to be everywhere. And in terms of the invite that we sent out, what we talked about was desktop app video conferencing, otherwise known as Ooma meetings, call recording and enhanced call blocking. And you may be wondering, call recording and enhanced call blocking, how is that related to this topic? And I'll touch on that as well. So with that said, let me move on to the next slide, which is to say thank you to each one of you, our customer, for being our customer. We won the PC Mag Reader's Choice Award 8 years in a row, and we don't do it without customers like yourself. So it's very near and dear to our heart, right? Because this award is actually an award that is voted on by readers, not by editors or not by anybody else. And so the fact that we continually to beat some of the biggest names out there as it relates to phone services, it's truly an honor. So thank you once again. So Ooma Office features. Hopefully you are getting the benefit of all of these features that you have. And I guess actually showing this feature list might be a good refresher for you too. You might see a feature in here that you didn't realize that you had, because we built in a lot of value into Ooma Office, and there's inherently actually a lot of features already in Ooma Office that can help you work from anywhere. But again, as we throughout this webcast talk about Ooma Office Pro, we'll talk about the additional feature sets that really position you well for the new economy. So with that said, let me first talk about the desktop app. The desktop app is one of those features that, from the perspective of, again, in the mindset of, okay, got it, I need to be productive no matter where I am. Being productive through the desktop app, even when you're at the office or at home, might be your next sort of evolution in terms of how you handle phone calls. You might be at the office and you have a physical desktop phone, and that's great if you want to continue to use it. I actually still like it too. I like the fact that, you can press on the speakerphone and, instead of actually picking up the handset and whatnot, and you can listen to a call with both ears, so to speak, versus just one ear. And the desktop app, though, it's a great feature because most of us are actually on our PCs. And so when you talk about fluidity of going from one app to another app, and so if you get a call, let's say you work in customer service or you work in sales, and you actually then need to load up the CRM system that you're using to look up that customer or to enter information about that prospect, to, going into another app to schedule a meeting or whatever it might be, the desktop app enables fluidity, and it comes equipped, fully featured with pretty much every single feature that you would expect that you would actually be able to access from a desktop phone. So everything from being able to be part of ring groups to being able to receive extension dialing. But on top of that, all of these great other features that you don't get through your physical desktop phone, which includes texting, SMS, MMS. You can create group chats as well. And then you can also access a whole other host of features that I'll get into when I share the app. The mobile app, again, is a feature that's part of Ooma Office. Well, Ken, why are you bringing it up here? Well, the combination, when you upgrade to Ooma Office Pro, having the desktop app, having the mobile app actually makes the sort of 360 solution more complete, right? Because now what you've done is actually created more options. And so for that worker that is in multiple places, whether if it's the office or the home office or in the airport or in the coffee shop, now what you've done is actually you've enabled yourself to, like I said, be part of ring groups and extension dialing and all those things. But now you have options in terms of how you actually want to handle the call. You can actually, in a situation, for example, let's say you were in the, I don't know, the coffee shop, right? And you were answering phones via the desktop app. Well, you know what? You also have a mobile app in case it's getting too loud in that coffee shop and you need to step outside and actually receive and actually deal with a call or make an outbound call with that business phone number. It's a perfect solution to enable you to do that. And then also from the perspective of managing your preferences on the go, you're able to do that in the mobile app too. So I'll get into the mobile app more as well. Video meetings. So video meetings is a feature. When we launched it, I don't know, about 9 months ago or so, we wanted to make sure that we were adding value to our customers in a real way. And video meetings does not have an additional fee for the Ooma Office Pro user fee, right? So it's all baked in there. And what you have is a fully functioning video conferencing tool in which you can collaborate, you can screen share, you can do everything that you would expect to. You can set up meetings, create a meeting ad hoc or scheduled. You have this meeting link that you can send out to other folks that are not part of your company that need to join one of these video meetings. They simply take that link and they can use Chrome, put it in the browser, and boom, they're in the meeting. Those users actually could also download the app if they wanted to and actually join the meeting too. But you also have a mobile app. And so the mobile app works in the same way in terms of joining a meeting, scheduling meetings, managing your meetings. And so again, just fully featured functionalities to really equip you no matter where you are. And then call recording. So I'll get into in terms of actually how we set this up, but call recording is one of those features where you're like, well, okay, explain this to me one more time. So in a lot of situations in where we are right now, again, home office, physical office and whatnot, remote offices, and you're, let's say, a business owner and you have people on the phone all day long, and you maybe or are in a situation where you're managing a sales team or a customer service team. A lot of times you want to physically be there. For Ooma, we have several call centers, and one of our call centers, I enjoy going there because I get to interact with sales and customer service team. And pre-COVID, I'm sitting next to sales and customer service reps, and I'm hearing their calls. and we're no longer physically be able to, to have that same kind of interaction for the most part, right? And so call recording is an interesting feature because now once you set it up, you can set it up by user to record every single call coming in and out. And now you're still able to facilitate training. You're able to facilitate auditing. You're still able to do all of the things that you were previously. But now you can, if you have an employee that's actually still doing calls from home or the office, being able to coach and being able to take those and hear those calls so that you can improve on, opening and closing statements and how you deal with objection handling and all that kind of thing can still be achieved. So again, it's a really interesting feature when you think about how it can be expanded into this new work from anywhere environment. Next feature, call blocking. So again, call blocking, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, um, when you use your desktop app as well as your mobile app. So what's interesting in terms of a dynamic that I think we frequently see, and maybe you yourself do this, is that when you hit the road, when you hop in your car, you end up using your personal phone number. And so then you start calling customers and you start calling partners, right? And then all of a sudden you're in the situation where you're constantly just using your own number. So the same thing works in reverse in terms of, well, when you are on those calls, you may be actually getting a lot on your personal phone, or you may be getting a lot of robocalls. And so, but with using the mobile app and the desktop app, you're staying productive no matter where you are because all those calls are being filtered, right? And so, again, when you're at your physical office, it's not just the calls that are coming into that location that are being blocked. It's everywhere that you're accessing and using your phone number, right? And so, in terms of not hindering performance, right, of any one of your employees or yourself, call blocking is an interesting feature from that perspective, in that if you are constantly using your phone, your business phone number through the mobile, through the desktop app, as actually even your your desktop phone as well, all those calls, no matter where you are going to be able to be continuously blocked. And there's some additional features in which you can also create customized block lists too. And so I'll also get into that. So, all right. So with that said, we are just about at the halfway mark, so we're doing good on time. Let me switch over to the desktop app. Okay, so the desktop app has a lot of great features. And so once you load it, you'll see the directory. And this is my test account. You can see a lot of Jane and John Does and Jane Smiths. I think I've created every single variation of those kinds of names here. And what's great about when you use the desktop app and you have your company directory in it, you can easily hit call and it will call that user. You can easily hit text and it will actually then go to a window here. And actually, I never set my default here. Let me hit save and hit processing. And what happens is that it puts you into what this next feature is in terms of messaging. And so again, you can message in and out to any number receiving texts, right? And what's great about in terms of the functionalities is that you can also attach files for MMS, and you can also, you have access to emoticons as well. And simple text is obviously, here is your text box for it. So great feature functionality, especially if you are dealing with customers that like actually interacting over text, or if you need to send them a link, right? There's a lot of interactions in which you as a customer service team, as an example, you need them to sign something, whether it might be a DocuSign or what have you, right? Or you need to provide them some sort of URL to go to enter in information. Texting is a great way to actually provide those links real time, especially when you're on a call with one of those customers. Video meetings I'll get into in a second, so let me come back here, but this is where essentially we'll access Ooma Meetings, which is our video conferencing platform. And you can also access your voicemail here. You can do fax here, and you have access to your call logs. Making a call is so simple. Essentially, you press that button there and you enter in your phone number, so on and so forth. And then you hit call, and it is then dialing out. Sending text is something that we just covered over there, as well as the sending faxes. And starting a conference, what this actually is versus Ooma Meetings is that we also give you an additional functionality or feature, I should say, of having audio conferencing. And so what's interesting is, a lot of articles nowadays just in terms of, video meeting fatigue and whatnot. And it's kind of an ironic statement because a lot of times the way we get things done, especially, in the knowledge worker space is, sharing screens and collaborating, and video meetings actually provides that. But if you're just going to have an audio conference, you can certainly use Ooma Meetings and just do that. Or you can actually set an audio conference that is just pure audio, no video at all. So another great feature. Okay, Ooma Meetings. So as I mentioned before, fully featured video conferencing solution as part of the Ooma Office Pro feature set. So you can schedule your meetings here, and you can name your meetings, you can set the dates, so on and so forth, and you can also allow guests to join before the host. And so if you do not click this, basically the attendees will get to a screen in which it's saying we're waiting for the host to start the meeting. You can join a meeting. So if somebody else has an Ooma meeting account, and they provided you the meeting ID, that's where you would enter it and join it. And then you can also create instant ad hoc meet now meetings, right? Where you can create a meeting link. You would copy the invite here and essentially be able to provide that to your invitees and have that meeting immediately start. You'd be able to see your meetings that you've set up here, and then also a host of your recent meetings that you attended to. So what can I say? It's everything that you would need. And again, in terms of feature functionality, it has everything that any one of the other solutions has out there without the additional costs. So something to think about if you are finding yourself that you're in a lot of video meetings, and if you're currently paying for an additional service. So let me share my screen as it relates to where'd it go here? Call recording. So call recording, in terms of setting up call recording, is very simple. So you go, what I've logged into is the Ooma Office Manager, and looks like actually this webinar is still being promoted here. You log in and you go to the settings of any single one of your users. And as it loads up, if you're familiar with this menu option, I'm sure you are, in terms of who that user is, the numbers, the devices they have set up for them, setting up voicemail and call handling. But features is where you want to go to actually record all calls. And so enable to record all calls to or from this user. And then from there, you would hit save. And then in terms of being able to access it, you'd actually be able to go to your call logs and then do the things that I mentioned before, that when you are not physically there, how do you still audit and train and do all those things that you were, whether if you're at your office or your home office. And this feature enables you to do that. And then in terms of call blocking, I'm sorry, actually the reason why I paused was in terms of actually setting up Ooma Office Pro, before you saw that feature available to actually click off, you would need to upgrade to Ooma Office Pro. And so the area that you would go to do that is you would go to the store and you would see the other offerings that we have available. One is Ooma Office Pro, and then you'd be able to actually simply upgrade from there. So call blocking is managed. I'm sorry, through the system. Little pause there. I go through a lot of these, and so at the end of the day, I just slightly forgot for 1 second there. By the way, call recording is also here, and there's also a note in terms of this feature being enabled for all of your company-wide, and so all users can start and stop specifically. And then in terms of an additional feature, you can actually specify by user. That's what that's saying. So call blocking, block anonymous calls, block numbers from a block list, block suspected spammers, and you can also edit that block list and add it, and you actually have 1,000 numbers to use. Most times it's actually very difficult to actually even get above 10 or 15. And so what we've done is we've given you a pretty high limit of at least a maximum of 1,000 block numbers to add into it. And that's how you actually set up call blocking once you upgrade again to Ooma Office Pro. So pretty straightforward from the perspective of setting it up. And what I wanted to transition now to was actually getting into some of the features that enable more work from anywhere productivity. And one of the features that we actually talk a lot about is actually is actually ring groups. Ring groups is a very interesting feature, again, with employees anywhere, right? And so it's nice to physically have everybody all in the same spot. But now we're in this world where, okay, if you have a customer service team of 3 and they're all on a staggered schedule, maybe where one of those individuals is coming to the office 2 days a week, and maybe that's Monday and Tuesday, but then you have another employee coming in on Wednesday and Thursday, and then you have that third person coming in Tuesdays and Fridays, and that gets shuffled from week to week, and no one's ever in the same spot at the same time. But we need to make sure that every single one of the customer services calls are being answered no matter where they are. Ring groups is another great feature that actually facilitates that. And so ring groups is very easy to set up. I was in the extension or user menu option there, and I selected add, in which you saw a number of features that you can access there. Adding ring group is one of the features that can be accessed there. And sort of to how I was talking about, we have, for example, sales, and, maybe it's customer service that you wanted. And you can also pre-pen that to the caller ID as well, which is another great feature. You can select the ringing mode. So simultaneously, all phones ring at once or sequentially. And you can, place your users in a sequential order for it to ring. And so somebody that's calling customer service, perhaps will ring Jane first, then John, then Ken, and so on and so forth, right? And here's where you do to actually select that. And then in terms of the ring duration, here's where you also set that. And then you can also decide if no one answers, well, what do you do? And so send it to voicemail or send it to another person. And then in terms of the numbers, this is an interesting feature because what you can do is this particular ring group has an extension number. You can actually go here and actually select a dedicated phone number for this ring group. And so if it was sales, and sales is a ring group that you want to advertise and use in your promotions, that's the number that you could advertise, and it would actually go directly into that sales ring group versus, for example, the main office line. So another great feature to have as part of that ring group. So I forgot to actually the most important aspect of actually adding a ring group is where do you add members, and that's where you do that here is you essentially click that button and you can see the users that I've set up here, and you just click on those names and then you add them into this ring group. So, and then you would hit save, and those are the individuals that would be part of it. So another great feature as it relates to, again, navigating this unique time where that we're all in of how we manage employees no matter where they are. All right, so I think actually just in going through my list of features that I wanted to share, those were the features that I wanted to share. So thanks again for joining. Let me flash up the slide as it relates to how to reach us. Hopefully you have this number saved somewhere, 877-959-6662. And give us a shout if you have any questions about any of the features that I just reviewed. And if you need also help to actually upgrading, it's very simple to do. Just log into your Office Administrator, go to the systems, look for Pro, and simply click on the Pro upgrade, and boom, you're upgraded. And then you'll be able to download the desktop apps and be able to access all of the features that I mentioned. So hopefully I provided on the expectation of this webcast for you. And at the end of the day, the Office Pro feature set gives you some of those features that you really will need to be able to manage and run your business from anywhere, and to enable your employees to actually work from anywhere in this new economy. So with that said, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon and see you next time. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining.